Hello everyone and welcome to the Student Art Podcast. Before we get started today, I just want to start things off with the Student Art Share is now back. So if you guys want to share your ArtStation links and portfolios in the comment section below. We've already got 20 portfolios submitted, so thank you everyone who's been sharing on our social media platforms on Twitter and LinkedIn. It is really appreciated. So stay tuned for that. That'll be starting next week. And all the artwork that you guys have been sharing. So if you guys got a latest project or something new that you're working on, post it down below. You never know. It might be chosen to be showcased on the podcast. So thanks everyone and enjoy the rest of the show. Hello everyone and welcome to the Student Art Podcast. I'm your host Ross Baxter and today is episode 89 of the series. Today we're going to be talking about the most powerful and most epic conversation, as always, it's networking, people. We're talking about the famous word, the great word that so many people don't like, believe it or not. It's the scary word. It's the one that intimidates a lot of people, and I completely get it. So today, we're going to be breaking down 10 tips of how you guys can get better at networking, and most importantly, like holding a conversation and messaging people, getting in contact, building these relationships to not only enhance your career, but most importantly, develop you as an individual. And that comes in time. And most importantly is developing confidence. And confidence is a thing that I know particularly that a lot of people do struggle with when it comes to taking that first step in terms of reaching out to people, starting a conversation. And you guys will know, if you guys have not checked out, I did a Twitter poll last week. And we got some very interesting responses, which was actually really great to see. And I appreciate everyone who responded to that. We had lots of responses, so thanks as always. You guys now know why I did the Twitter poll. It was based around the fact that it's now that time of the year where we have lots of students who are graduating, so graduation showcases. And we've got, I know we've got in Scotland, so if you want to check out, it's the Graduate Showcase. There's a website. I'll make sure to put the link in the description down below. And I also know that Lancashire has their Graduate Showcase coming up next week as well. Alberta University just had their Graduate Showcase. It was an amazing turnout. So thank you everyone if you guys are listening from Alberta. Great job. And I wish you all the best. But like I said, Graduate Showcases are happening at the moment. And conversation plays a massive part in it. Because at the end of the day, yes, art plays, there's always this kind of debate that art is basically 90% of everything, which is technically true. Like, your art is super important when getting a job. However, the thing that makes you skyrocket your career is conversation and networking and relationships and trust, and realizing that conversation is great. Like, talking to people is one of the best things I've ever done. I love talking, hence why I do a podcast, and I love helping people, I love teaching. And I want to get across to you guys how to get over this fear and most importantly, start enjoying it. So let's dive straight into it. So first one, having an objective. Know what you're trying to get out of it. So today we're going to base things around events, etc. Just because it's the main area that allows us to be around people and allows us to socialize and build these connections at best. So having an objective goes such a long way. So before you even attend an event, know what you want to get out of it. Because if you're attending an event, not knowing what you're going to do, you're going to spend most of your time twiddling your thumbs and trying to figure out what on earth you're going to do. So, for example, I went down to an amazing event in London called Vertex 2 years ago, and it was hands down one of the best experiences and decisions I've ever made. But before I even attended the event, as always, you do your research. So know what you're going to do, know what you're trying to achieve. I knew I was starting off my podcast and I wanted to help as many artists as possible in terms of getting their journey out there and helping students know what the ins and outs of the industry is actually like. So before I attended this event, I wrote that down on my list. I was like, right, I want to talk to companies about how to get my brand out there, and most importantly, get more students' work noticed. And then I had to ask myself the question, right, how do I do that? And there was many companies such as magazines, etc., who were attending this event because it was the biggest event in London for VFX and 3D artist creators, etc. So that was one of my objectives, which was firstly build relationships and connections with people who create magazine companies, such as ImagineFX, 3D World, 3D Artist, you name it. All these amazing magazine that I highly recommend you guys to check out. And as always, links are in description. So when I attended this event, I also wanted to get out of it feedback. And what do I mean by that? So portfolio feedback. So at the time, this was before I got a job in the AAA industry. So before that, I was working in film. I wanted to get feedback on the quality of my artwork. And the great thing about Vertex is it basically allows you to get feedback for half-an-hour sessions from the best artists in the industry. And I'm not just saying that. Like, a lot of people say the best this and the best that. However, these were literally the best artists in the industry that I know of in their particular field. So they had VFX modelers from Framestore, DNEG, they had rare artists, etc., you name it. And I had the chance to get my feedback from them. And through those experiences, I had a list of variety of questions to ask them so I can get the right feedback that I was looking for. And like I said, I got the best possible outcome of that, because a month later, I got a job. Because they helped me break down all my mistakes, everything to change my portfolio, and that comes to being organized. So also at the event, there's obviously hundreds of people, probably thousands to be honest, and I was always going back and forth talking to all these different people. And one of the hardest things, like I said at the start, talking about the Twitter poll, is taking the first step. So going up to someone and saying, "Hi, I'm Ross, pleasure to meet you, it would be great to have a chat with you," and to talk about possibly connecting in the future. And then you just start the conversation. However, lots of people in their head, when they're thinking about, or when they're surrounded by lots of people, I understand they get nervous, they get shy, and I completely get that. And that's why I want to use this podcast as your chance to take that first step. So if you guys are listening right now, whether it's on Spotify, you name it, Anchor, or you're listening to here on YouTube, I want to give you guys this chance. So if you guys are listening to this, send me a message on LinkedIn. I don't care whatever area of expertise or whatever, it doesn't matter. All I care about is you guys sending me that first message. So if you guys want to have a chance to kind of get over your that kind of hurdle that you're kind of facing at the moment, and it's like just reaching out to one person, send me a message on LinkedIn saying, Hi Ross, I listened to your podcast today. I hope you have a great day. That's the first step. That's all you need to do. You're probably wondering, wait, how's that going to help me? Well, you've done a first step through messaging someone. And if it makes it easier for you to kind of get over that hurdle by messaging me, then do it. There's no harm in that. Yes, I might not have the chance to respond if hundreds of people are sending me messages, if not thousands. But at least it's an opportunity. It's a chance for you to kind of just take that little first step. It may be a small step, but step forward. And at the end of the day, that's all I care about, is you guys to kind of get over that fear, because I understand it's such a daunting thing for so many people. Take public speaking, for example, doing presentations in front of classes. The amount of people that I know that dislike or even hate talking in presentations is crazy. And there was this crazy study. It was mental when I heard of it. So basically, America did this study of, I believe it was about 1 million people. Of more people hated public speaking over the fear of death. Like, people are more afraid of public speaking than the fear of death. And there was even a talk about it on TEDx, how so many people they didn't know where to begin because they just froze. And if this first step through reaching out to me makes it a wee bit more easier for you guys to take the second step, then great. That means you're going in the right direction, and it's going to help you out. So when it comes to taking the first step, another thing that is important is when you're going out to these events, it's at the end of the day, if you make the first interaction, it makes it easier for you to start a conversation. Because if someone starts a conversation with you first, and you don't have a clue how to respond, because that's another one of the Twitter poll. So on the Twitter poll, I also put in so starting the conversation or knowing how to respond. And there was like 30% of people responded they didn't know how to respond. So if you don't know how to respond, then make sure you start the conversation first. So if you're wanting to reach out to a person that's a very, one of your idols who's an artist, then just reach out to them first, because then that's going to take away the pressure of continuing the conversation. And that in a day is another way to kind of get around that hurdle if you're super nervous about that. And the first step in a day, it's I'll say it repetitively because at the end of the day, it's the thing that's going to change everything. Because once you learn communication, once you learn how to network, it allows you to open up everything. And one of the biggest things I think so many artists don't know about is business. So business is super important. In how can I say it? Like, what most people I know, when they say that they're artists, they don't necessarily incorporate the word business, or they don't approach it necessarily as a business. They just want to make art, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. However, understanding business is crucial, and understanding your worth is super important. And you can increase your worth through your confidence and through your power of conversation, etc., and knowing what to say, when to say it, how to listen to people, etc., how to message people, how to respond to people, and how to, most importantly, maintain relationships and maintain that trust. And that's one thing I'm also going to be talking about in the future podcast, so stay tuned for that, which is the power of business and why more artists should be needing, why more artists need to focus on the business aspect as well. Okay, so the third one, this one's always an interesting one because this is also difficult for many people, but it's don't be negative. So when you're trying to go to these events, etc., don't be one of those people who's like, oh, this is not what I expected, this is not as fun. Because at the end of the day, you get out what you put in. So if you're not enjoying something, figure out why are you not enjoying it. Maybe though the event wasn't for you, and that's alright, but at least you got that answered. And it's all about trial and error. So when you do attend these events, that's why I said go with an objective, because if you go with an objective, you'll at least know that you're possibly going to get something out of it. And every time I do a podcast, I'm like super enthusiastic. That's just who I am. I'm energetic. When I go to these events, I'm like talking to everyone. I reach out to everyone, and I get to know people. And that's because I enjoy it. I make something of it. But there was times when I hated it. Believe it or not, there was times when I just wanted to be my own bubble. I did not want to be around people. I was just like, I'm focusing on my art, and that's it. That's all I cared about. However, you can only improve if you actually put the effort in. So you have to have fun. So every time you go into a new event, whether it's maybe your graduate showcase. So if you've got your graduate showcase coming up, reach out to all these people. Look at all the lists of guests that are coming in. And enjoy the fact that you have this opportunity, because there's many people out there who don't have these opportunities available to them. Maybe it's because of their location, where they live in the world, maybe it's just financially, etc. But if you are currently studying at a college or university, or have the opportunity to attend something, grasp it and don't let anyone take it away from you, because this is your chance to move a step forward in the world. And that's what we at the end of the day are looking for. Like, you guys wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you did want to get better. So make sure to have fun and just relax, be yourself. I say it so many times, you gotta be yourself. Don't be afraid. Who cares what anyone thinks? I don't care what anyone thinks. It's at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. It's the only way to get better in life. Okay, right, this is an intro one, and this is one that I learned from YouTube. So as we all know, YouTube is a great source for building connections and learning what makes you great at communicating with people. And believe it or not, one of the obvious ones, well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily obvious, but it's don't get trapped in your comfort zone. So once you do get successful, so say you come across a person that you've had a great conversation with and you've been able to talk for ages and ages. However, the only problem with that is that you're there to make connections. So once you have developed a good relationship with someone, you've given your details across, etc., and vice versa, and you've arranged possibly a chat or something online, whether it's through Skype, etc., then make sure to finish the conversation with, thank you so much for connecting with me. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'll make sure to reach out to you in the future. And then move on to the next person. Because once we get into our comfort zone, we forget that our main purpose, which is to connect with as many people as you can. But yeah, sometimes though, make sure that once again it goes back to the research thing. So when you are wanting to connect with people, maybe have a goal, like say like 5 connections. So once again going back to the concept of having an objective, maybe say right at today, at the end of the day, I want to have 5 great connections. So that's, you've got your first connection. You've developed your relationship, you've passed across your cards. So if you have your business cards with you, highly recommend you take business cards. So if you don't know what a business card is, as simple as it sounds, it just has your email address or your phone number, just contact details so you guys can exchange further information in the future. So once again, make sure to move on to the next connection at the event. Don't just get stuck in your comfort zone talking to the same person, because at the end of the day, you've gone to these events to learn and grow and develop, and you don't be wasting your time just staying put the whole entire day. Okay, this is something that I talked about earlier, and it's one of the things that I think that makes or breaks everything. So when people reach out to me, or when I reach out to people, I've made the mistake as well, not intentionally, but through the way, maybe the way I've written certain things, whether it's an email or maybe talk to them on the phone. The biggest mistake that so many companies, even big companies, have done this. So people have reached out to me many times saying how great their service is, rather than focusing on the person that, like I say, you want to be giving first, rather than receiving. And that's the biggest mistake so many people make. They always think that they provide, or that their company is the best for someone, but it's the way you write it. So every time I reach someone on LinkedIn, I always introduce myself as simple as possible. So I'm like, "Hello, I'm Ross. It's a pleasure to meet, pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, pardon me. Thank you for everything that you do." So every time I reach out to a guest, there's a particular reason why people come on my podcast. Like, I reach out to people to come on my podcast because I want them to come on, because I respect everything that they've done, whether it's they've done so much to help the industry, the type of art has inspired me to create similar art, and maybe they've messaged me before, or vice versa. And it's all about trust. Like, trust at the end of the day is everything. Like, being honest. Like, if you're not honest, then it's just not going to work. Like, it has to be a healthy relationship. Like I said earlier, going back and forth, just like tennis. You have to be giving and receiving. It's at the end of the day, it's like, it's not just all about you. You have to realize it's called a connection. Like, you have to work together as a team. And so, for example, I'm really excited for our next podcast, which is with Grads and Games. So I'm going to be collaborating with Grads and Games. And I love what they're doing over there, and all the things that they're doing with Search for a Star, etc. So I know what they're doing. I know the value they've been providing students in the industry. And at the end of the day, like, that's all that matters. It's all about helping people. And the reason why you have to help and give first, and the reason why you have to support people, is because everything comes back. You'll receive things in the future because of what you've given. And that's, at the end of the day, it's a patience game. It's being patient and honest with yourself, and realizing that things take time. A lot of people think things can just happen to them overnight. Like, the one question that confuses me all the time, that when people answer it, is like, how did you get good at this? Everyone already knows how people got good at things. They're just too afraid to accept the fact that it took hard work. Hard work is the answer to everything. If you work hard, you'll get anything you want in life. It doesn't matter what your background is, you can always work hard, and eventually you'll get what you want. It's as simple as that. So I really hope people focus on that point, because that thing, it changed my life, because so many people have helped me out. So what do? I thank them. Like, I've been spoiled for choice, the amount of people that have helped me. So I made sure to always give back. And if I couldn't, I would always make sure I could do whatever I can in the future to possibly help them. Whether it's something very small, or if it's something bigger, then great, because that means I can help them even more. So that's another super important one. So make sure to know when to give and when to receive. Okay. This is another one, and similar to what I just said there, is conversation balance. So when you're talking to people, give people the chance to speak. There's so many people, particularly me, right? When when I first started this whole kind of getting to know people and networking, I always used to be the very loud person, so to speak. I was always the one always talking non-stop. However, the biggest thing you can learn, or one of the biggest things you can learn, is how to listen to people. Listening is a gift. It's not a gift, sorry. It's a skill that the best people in any industry will have. There's a reason why certain people or there's certain companies that are very successful in the industry. It's because they listen to their teams. So, for example, a great example for this was I went to this leadership course, and at the time of this leadership course, I was obviously having to learn qualities, etc., of how to work within a team. However, I knew that I wasn't the best at orienteering. So basically, we were going up this mountain, a well-known mountain inside of Scotland, and I had to. My assignment was to make sure to guide everyone up the mountain safely. However, I wasn't an expert with a compass, etc. I didn't know how to orienteer. I wasn't the best at using maps at the time. So what did I do? I listened to my team around me. I utilized their skills. I utilized their value that they could bring to make the overall thing work together and be successful. So I asked the people who was best at using a map. They went right at the front with the person who was best at using a compass, and we worked together efficiently. And that ties into being able to listen to people in a conversation. So you have to give people time to say what they have to say as well. And once again, back and forth. Have fun with it. It's just a conversation. If you stumble with your words, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no harm in making a mistake. Making mistakes are the best thing you can ever do. So when it comes to conversation balance, make sure to let the person that you're talking to, whether it's at an event, etc., or maybe it's just on LinkedIn. And one good rule to kind of work with is also read the amount of text that they're giving you as well, believe it or not. So say if someone gives you an essay of information, respond back with lots of information as well. Like, have a healthy response, and make sure you respect that as always. So I hope you guys like that one, because that one helped me out a lot as well growing up. Okay, another one. So we've got two more. The next one is keep moving. So keep going forward. Keep the momentum flowing. So when you go to an event, constantly be on your feet. Observe, look around, try things out. The biggest thing, once again, it goes back to your comfort zone. So earlier I was saying about talking to people and being in your comfort zone because you've already got comfortable talking to that person. So the more you move around, the more you're going to get into the rhythm, and naturally you'll begin to enjoy it more because you'll just I don't know, the energy will be going, and you'll begin to love it. And momentum is such a great thing because it's just a catalyst for success. So the more habit you get to be introducing yourself, to just saying hi to everyone, pleasure to have you here, it's great to talk to you, etc. Whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be, hi, I'm, and like, you don't have to tell the whole story of your life. Some people might let you tell your whole story, great, then that's good for conversation. You can tailor things off from there, that's alright. So use that as a building block to generating more success. So keep moving, keep trying things out. So when I went to Vertex, I went to the sketching booth, I went to there was a collectibles booth as well, there was the magazines, there was 3D booths, there was 3D printing booths, there was VR. I tried everything out, I talked to everyone, I gave things, even if there was something I necessarily didn't enjoy, I tried out because you don't know, something might happen. You might bump into someone like, wait, you do the same thing as me, great, let's have a conversation. And that's the thing, is that when people attend these things, trust me, your life can change. And that's why connections and communication is literally like the best thing you will ever learn in your life. Socializing at work, talking to friends at work, it's those experiences, it's those relationships, it's those trusts that can lead to further jobs. So if you know lots of people and you trust lots of people and lots of people trust you, you're sorted for life. Why? Because you've got a foundation, you've got a tree that branches off in so many different areas that when you need support, you have it there. And that's why keeping the momentum going is super important. So if you're, for example, have been very successful. So say you've got a job, you've just got your job, congratulations, that's great to hear. But keep that skill developing. Don't just stop, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. Believe it or not, sometimes unfortunately people lose their jobs, and sometimes you might need that skill to come back. So the more you keep building relationships and developing that trust with people, will just make everything way more smoother for you. Right. Once again, going back to this point, because today I always think, I know we talked about it briefly, but it's the most important one. You just have to have fun. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily enjoy it, but trust me, once you get into the rhythm of conversation, just talking to people, and just remember, we're artists. So if you're talking to other artists, that's all we care about. We love talking to creators, and if you can start geeking out about, I don't know, you know me, sculpting's my favorite thing, so I'm just going to talk to someone about sculpting if I have the chance. So if I see someone, I don't know, 3D printing Treebeard or something, I'm instantly walking to them. I'm like, right, conversation with Lord of the Rings, let's go. Simple as that. It's like there's no. I always want to make the best out of it, so make the best of it for yourself. So I hope that, guys, has helped you. Leave a like if you enjoyed, as always. And like I said, the podcast is back up and running, starting off next week. Obviously, you'll have this episode to help you guys on your journey. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Like I said, leave a like, smash the subscribe button, as always, if you have not already. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.